So MTP and POXO mandate. Suppose a girl comes to you who's less than 18 years old wanting to seek for MTP. What is your responsibility and duty as a health practitioner, as a doctor, as a gynecologist? Where do you stand legally? So POXO Act, under POXO Act, any minor girl who is less than 18 years is not eligible to consent to sexual intercourse. Is my voice okay or should I speak more loudly? So a pregnant minor girl, whether she is married or unmarried. See, we'll discuss with the legalities of marriage, whether she's eligible for marriage or not, that comes later. But primarily what we have to consider right now is about MTP. She is a pregnant lady who's come to you. Where do we stand with that currently? Okay, whether she is married or she is unmarried is considered a victim of sexual assault. Any act of sexual activity less than 18 years, there is no role of consent. That is considered as illegal in the eyes of court of law. So she is a victim. Okay, so if she stands as a victim, she comes under POXO Act. Is considered a victim of sexual assault. So whether the medical legal formalities or the MLC is being done or not, that is the later part. That comes under the purview of the police officer or the investigating officer to identify and to go ahead with the legal formalities. But you as a doctor, for you it is mandatory to report to the police. Also remember, a very famous example used to be quoted by our head of the unit in our audits, usually what ma'am used to tell. So one of her friend, a colleague who is a gynecologist herself, but her own daughter, who was less than 18, conceived, and she sought help from our head of the unit for her abortion process and everything. So, given in good faith, she offered MTP to her young girl and everything. She underwent abortion, keeping everything in privacy and secrecy, in good faith that okay, her mother is a doctor as well. I don't remember if she was a gynec or which kind of a doctor, but then she was a doctor. So our head of the unit went ahead and performed MTP for that girl without any documentation, without keeping all her secrecy and everything in place. And ultimately there was a fight between the two families, of the family of the boy and the girl. Both the parents were involved. The matter went to the police, the matter went to the court, and the whole problem came down revolving to the person who did abortion. So the documents had to be completed later on in a retrospective manner, which becomes very difficult because you have those MTP registers which are maintained, the PNDT form numbers, everything is a big havoc. So the lesson which I want to give to you all as a practical lesson for your lifelong, your career is starting right now. Somebody told me this: never get messed up in two things, PNDT Act, MTP Act. Be very, very careful. It can ruin your career. A glorious career of being one of the best surgeon, best physician, best gynecologist stands apart. And this PNDT and MTP Act can ruin things like nothing else can do. So be very careful in your legal formalities. No matter she's your best friend, whoever comes seeking for MTP or PNDT, get your documents clear. My cousin came for ultrasound for me. I made her fill the F form. I did not do a scan without filling the F form. No matter whoever that blood relation comes to you, in good faith, counsel the person ki everything will be in secrecy with you. Keep everything logged under cover in your envelopes, in your drawer, in everything, but keep those records in place. Do not give anything which is OTC, over the counter, or in just in good faith, or just here and there. Okay, so Very important lesson as a post graduation. Mandatory to report to the police. So any failure to report, you are liable for 6 months of imprisonment. Where do you have to inform? Suppose you don't know कहाँ पे क्या inform करना है. So where you have to inform, you can call 1098 or 100 if you do not know the local police officer's numbers, and receive a signature, receiving signature from the authority person, from the person in authority, is very, very important in the file, that you have informed so and so police, the police has come and spoken to the person, get it signed. It will save you medico-legally in the court of law. So which is the body which is governing this whole process of POCSO and MTP is NPCR. What does NPCR stand for? Can anybody tell me? What do you do with the products of conception here? So you do, the POCs are preserved. I'm waiting for the answer for NPCR, the full form. You can Google it right away. You can use your AI tools. Preserved in refrigerator until they are handed over to the police. So there was a there was an order which was passed by Supreme Court about privacy. Supreme Court in 2022, which was a bench held by, this is multiple. No, it is Dr. Sindhu, in respect NPCR, not MPCR. It is NPCR with respect to POCSO and MTP. It is a body. What does the full form of NPCR stand for? This is what my question is. So Supreme Court judge bench led by Justice Chandrachud, who is a very famous justice who has given a lot of remarkable and landmark trials, nested polymerase chain reactions. No, I'm saying it's a National Registry for Cancer Registry. It's showing. Okay. Wait. No, it's okay. That's fine. Don't be sorry, all of you. So it stands for National Commission for the Protection of Child's Right. Okay, so that is a body which stands for protection of rights of these children. And then in 2000, question for all of you, my question to all of you is whether all POCSO girls who come to you for MTP, do you have to disclose their names to the police officer while informing about the case? Names batana mandatory hai ya nahi hai is my question to all of you. No. Even if it's a POCSO, are you sure? I'm telling disclosing the name to the police officer. Police. No. Survivor written always in our history. In your history and your documents and your records is fine. But when you are informing that POCSO case or that MLC case to the police, do you need to disclose the name and the identity of the person then or not? It's an important question for all of you. Dr. Suman, Iram, anyone would want to answer? So the judgment, they come and ask and we tell. Okay, that's a smart answer. So according to this landmark judgment that was given by Justice Chandrachud. So Dr. Kanishk, hi for joining and welcome for joining. We've not covered much. You just discussed about MTP and POCSO first, where we have discussed who all come in MLC. We have to write Yes, you do write the name, but it's still not mandatory to inform the police about the name. So no, it's okay, Dr. Kanish. I'm just telling you what all we went through, and then you can see back the recordings. Mandatory, whether how do you have to inform the POCSO case who come for MTP? How do you do the products of conceptions? How do you hand over? We've just started. It's not too late. So Supreme Court in 2022 said that for RMPs. So the question, last question that was, whether do you have to inform the POCSO case names have to be informed to the police or not? So RMPs need not disclose. It comes under Rule 3 capital B small b. All women under 18 years need not disclose the identity of the minor to the police if requested in writing by the minor and her guardian. So it has to be documented by both of them that they do not want the police to know about their name or identity if they feel a threat from the police. Suppose it's a very high profile case, because one such case did come to us in AIIMS. The case was filed against one of the person who was there and working in the ministries, I think some minister's relative, and she was a household help's daughter. The girl was 12-year-old, and the family did not wanted the identity to be disclosed to the police because of the suspicion and influence that the political family could have over the police in such a case, and it had to be kept under secrecy. And it was directly given to the magistrate. All the details were sent to the magistrate directly without informing the name and identity to the police. So the signatures were taken by the minor, despite, although we know that the consent of the minor is not much of significance in such cases, but then it has this particular clause has to be written because minor understands this much at least, whether her identity has to be revealed or not. So this is important. Now, second thing that we want to discuss is pregnancy due to non-consensual sexual activity. This was about POCSO till now. Then second, we want to discuss a little bit about pregnancy due to non-consensual sexual activity. So here what we do is we ask police to collect DNA kit from the forensic science laboratory and bring it to the hospital at the time of MTP. So the DNA sample kit is used to collect blood sample of the victim, plus it has a form that has to be filled, plus we have to paste the photograph of the person, of the victim, on that FSL form. Secondly, the products of conception are washed thoroughly with normal saline and sealed and labeled. How do you seal them? Have any of you seen how labeling or the sealing process is done? So once you remove all the products of conception, put it in a jar. We use a hypertonic saline or a super saturated saline. We prepare 2 jars with that. Usme 1 or 2 kgs of salt, Tata namak we use kiya jata. I'm not advertising anything, but any normal common salt that we use in our kitchen is used. We keep on adding to the distilled water till it becomes super saturated. What do you call super saturated? Till the salt stops mixing and settles down in the container. That is called as a super saturated salt solution. Here in the guideline in the books it's mentioned NS, but FSL guidelines say, the forensic science laboratory people always say that you should use super saturated salt. So the same salt is used in another container with same distilled water, and in that also we go on adding. एक में हमने POCs डाल दिया, दूसरा हमने is a controlled solution भेजना होता है FSL lab में. That is also super saturated salt solution. Once you have packed the contents of products of conception in that, close the lid or the jar, get it covered with a white cloth from the emergency department or where all the sealing and everything is done. get it sealed. जहाँ पे भी वो tapes लगते हैं या फिर you use threads to cover that, seal the jar completely, they stamp it with those red rubber stamps जो heat करके बनाए जाते हैं. They put those stamps at 2 to 3 places on the sealed sample as well as on the control solution. Then you send an A4 sheet where you are mentioning what is the pulinde or the samples that you are handing over in a sequence. Number 1, number 2, number 3 is a blood sample. So as a sequence where you have to write, and also on that A4 sheet, wherever you're cross signing that, so you put that red rubber stamp seal on that A4 sheet as well, so that it can be verified later on. And on every place where that red seal is being put on the box or the jar, there it has to be cross-signed by your pen, by the person who's getting that sealing done, by the doctor. You have to sign that, put your registration number or put the MLC number on that kapda or the jar wherever it is getting sealed. So sealing and labeling is very, very important in all MTP POCSO acts. Now, how do you transport these products of conception? The POCs are handed over to the police. It is transported in ice box at 4 degrees Celsius to the Forensic Science Laboratory, FSL. I'm writing after a long time, so sorry for my bad handwriting. Now we come to so this was a little bit about the medico-legal aspects of the POCSO and products of conception that I wanted to discuss. Coming to our prime topic for this class and session, which is about the core of the medical and surgical management, where we'll try to show you a video if it gets played on a screenplay. So first is clinical assessment. A part of the clinical assessment history taking we've discussed last week as well, but going trimester wise, if it is less than 9 weeks, what are the mandatory investigations as per Government of India guidelines? It is HB, urine, albumin, sugar, and ABORH that has to be done. USG, as we know, is not mandatory if it is an early, provided you are reasonably sure that it is not an ectopic pregnancy. Something on storage of RPOC I didn't get. So you have to store it in the refrigerator until you hand it over to the police. All these medico-legal things come in handy once you become the SR. After you complete your PG, you will have to face all these things. That's why I thought you should know these practical aspects. Other than that, if you want to ask something else, you can ask something on storage. So second trimester USG should be considered. If it is a second trimester abortion, it should be considered. Second thing is about antibiotic prophylaxis. What do you all think in a medical management of abortion? Do you all give antibiotics or not? Antibiotic prophylaxis. What do you all feel in a medical method of abortion? No. Answer is no. Antibiotic is not to be given. You can consider if she's a nulliparous woman or having or you have a strong suspicion on a PSPV or a foul discharge or smelling discharge, having any focus of infection, give antibiotics. If antibiotic is to be given, give against chlamydia trachomatis, Neisseria gonorrhoeae, and anaerobes. All three have to be covered. So second is, this was about medical method of abortion. Now, if we talk about surgical abortion, surgical first trimester abortion, antibiotic can be considered to prevent STI. This is in Government of India guidelines itself, to prevent STI. What you can give is, I'll give you the exact dosage and everything. You can consider Metrogyl, you can consider tetracycline, or you can consider beta-lactams. Now, if you consider the dosages and everything, this is given in WHO 2022 and also FIGO 2017. The rest of the misoprostol, mifepristone charting and everything, I'll discuss FIGO 2023 guidelines. The dosages were given specifically in FIGO 2017. So what dosages and antibiotics are recommended? Number 1, you can give azithromycin which is to be given as 1 gram stat, plus you can give tab, this is tablet metronidazole 800 milligram. That is twice double the dose. This is also double the dose. Both is double the dose at the time of abortion. This is first regimen. Second alternative regimen is, or you can give regimen 2, which is number 1 is tab doxycycline 100 mg BD. Either you give it for 3 days or you give it for 7 days. So both 3 days and 7 days have been found in RCTs to be equally effective in preventing STIs. So this has to be starting on the day of abortion, plus you add tab metro, which is to be given in 800 milligram at the time of abortion or within 2 hours of procedure. Clear to all of you? Antibiotic clear, antibiotic policies. Second, we will discuss about pain management. See, this is actually a very elaborate topic where each and everything has to be discussed. You start with you start with the consent, legal aspects, you go to the protocols, then you talk about the legalities, then you talk about antibiotic prophylaxis, pain management, the entire procedure, follow-up, management, complications and management of complications. So it is a vast and an extensive topic. That is the reason we try to spread it up into 2, so that we cover things in detail and provide you everything at one place so that you don't have to go and read here and there, okay?